I don't know what to do with myself because I didn't hear a dog barking. I did
I
not
was just looking
hear
for him.
what he.
Oh, here. What do you think, Chris?
There we go. That's more like it. That's what I'm looking for in the beginning of a Tuesday Ask Steve Mule and Donkey show. Folks, my name's Dave. This is Steve Edwards. Every week we get together to talk mules and donkeys. And if you've been here in weeks before, you know that we love to have a good time. And so I want to say, buckle up. Today's going to be a great show. We're very excited that you are here with us. And Steve, you have been on the move, my friend. Tell us what you've been up to.
On the move again. Yes. Yes, sir. We have I've been on an airplane, on a helicopter, and into a place called Newfoundland, Canada, where there are no mules.
No mules at all.
I kept asking people, and they say, "What is a mule?"
Sounds like
Man,
David Scholl down in Australia. What is that thing?
yeah, that's right.
What is that? He said, I remember asking him, I was like, what do people see when they see you coming up with a mule? The first thing they ask is, what is that?
What is that?
What is
But
that?
I guarantee you, it'd be tough for a mule to get around there.
Yeah, well,
It is the thickest, nastiest, toughest place you can imagine.
you had that's not what I wanted. Let's see, right here. You were trying to get around, and you had to actually load a helicopter to get around to where you were wanting to go.
That's exactly right. That's the only way you can get into this camp is by helicopter. Now, you can walk if you are really in good condition, and then you can swim across the Grand Lake. But yeah, it's you'd have to haul a boat quite a ways to even get close to it. There's my pilot. Man, he was good. He could flat set that thing down on a pin.
Look at that
And that
weather,
was what we
man.
were flying in. I tell
That's
you what,
bad weather.
it was raining. Usually takes about 13 minutes to get into camp. It took us 33 minutes to get into camp.
Wow.
And all of a sudden we just got a really bad storm. And a helicopter is not a place to be in when you're in a bad storm.
Well, once you got to camp, though, it wasn't all bad there.
Yeah, we had to eat moose sausage and moose hamburger and moose steaks. It was moosely good.
Is that a cornbread there or a biscuit or what is that?
That right there is some of the most awesome berry dessert. They got natural berries around there, and this guy is not a cook. This guy is got to be one of those top chefs. You know.
Yeah.
Those are all berries that he went out and picked and made this pudding. I must have gained 25 pounds. My wife wants to get me on the scale. I don't want to get near that scale.
But you were active because well, looky here.
Yeah, how about that?
So you got yourself a moose.
Yes, and right now it's my freezer is full of moose burger.
Moose burgers. So for those
Yeah.
who haven't had moose as a meat, what's it like?
I tell you what, that's my son right there with his moose. We had 100% camp. I don't think I sent you a picture of my daughter.
I don't
Call her
think
my
I.
daughter. Yeah, I call her my daughter. She's Rachelle Herman from Port Angeles, Washington. But yeah, there I am.
Very,
We got
very cool.
and it was a big-bodied young. He's just a little over 2 years old.
So
Hey, yeah.
are you getting him stuffed and you're going to set that up as a trophy in the house?
No. It costs too much to get that over here. Now the Canadian government wants you to take the meat with you, but they get a little touchy about the horns. So and it wasn't exactly. I wasn't looking for a trophy. I was looking for hamburgers. You
Yeah.
know, I want to. Now I'm at the age of getting rid of. I'm not the age of gathering. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm at the age of getting rid of. You know.
That's good. Well, hopefully we can help some folks get rid of their problems today. Every week we get together to talk mules and donkeys, and there's really only three things we ask. Matter of fact, you see folks in the comment section right now on Facebook and YouTube. They're already coming through. The three things we ask: number one, share your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like there today. It's one of those things where everyone's got a name, everyone is somewhere, and weather's happening. So it's a conversation that we can all jump in no matter what's going on in life. And if you're having a great day, hopefully you're just enjoying this. And if you're having just not so great of a day, we hope we can just lift you up a little bit, provide a little bit of encouragement, make you smile, and give you 60 minutes of just fun, exciting, just joyful conversation and hangout. So your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. Second thing is that you ask any and every mule or donkey question that you got. If you're sitting on that question thinking, oh, they probably already talked about it, or you're sitting on that question thinking, probably a stupid question, this isn't for beginners. Nope. In the words of Steve Edwards, wrong answer. No, we want to know those questions for two reasons. Number one, we are here for you. We want to help you. Steve will say, episode time and time again, I want to help you. I want to make sure that you get what you need. So we're here to help you. And so the only way we can fulfill our purpose for this is if you ask whatever question it is. The second question is that, or the second thing is that when you ask a question, all of these go up on YouTube. And that means folks are going to be looking for answers into the future. And if you ask your question and they happen upon this episode, they're going to get the answer just like you did. So really, you're doing a service to people right now and in the future. And the third thing we ask is that you share the broadcast. There's lots of share options on Facebook and YouTube. It does two things. Number one, it prevents family disgruntledness. When they find out at Thanksgiving that you've been watching the best mule and donkey program in the entire universe, and that you haven't invited them, I would not want to be sitting across from you at that dinner table. So we're trying to bring families together here. It does that, and then it also lets the algorithms know that, hey, this is a pretty good program, and it'll get in front of other folks who we haven't had a chance to help yet, but who are pre-help, right? Who are pre-result. We're going to help them get the results they want. So let's say hello here. Kathy is watching. Polly's watching from Barnesville, Minnesota. 54 and getting colder. Possibly snow coming this week. I tell you what, it seemed like all the way into May, folks were getting snow all over the U.S., and now it's like 4 months removed, and they're getting snow again. So maybe we could talk a little bit this week about what to do with your mules, donkeys, as it gets colder out. Dave O'Brien, East Texas, 79 and cloudy. Great to see you. Kathy is watching from hot and humid Houston, Texas. Kathy, I love the Woodlands area up there. Woodlands, Tomball, is that near you? Rory is watching from Southwest Ohio. It's a great day here. 70s, clear most of the day. Marcia is watching from Virginia. Perfect sunny fall weather today. Good for hanging laundry out. Lori is watching from Aguilar, Colorado. 62 degrees, overcast and rainy. Linda, the mule servant, is watching from sunny, warm, leap-peeping rural Ohio, and I hope we're still celebrating cancer-free, right, Linda? We got that news a couple weeks ago, and just absolutely loved hearing that. Thanks for letting us pray with you, Linda. James is watching. Jim from Western Maryland, 65 degrees, calm and clear. Sherman is watching. Norman, Oklahoma. Hey, Sherman, did you see the picture right here? Did you see it? Let's get it back up here. Did you see it there, Sherman? Have you ever stuffed a moose, Sherman, from Sherman Johnson Taxidermy? Steve got himself a moose. What's the largest thing you have ever, trophy you've ever put together there, Sherman? That'd be fun. Let's see here. JF is watching from Harriman, Utah. 60s and sunny. Nolan is watching, or Steve is watching on Nolan's account from Willis, Virginia. Weather is nice, fall, clear, warm, light breeze. Kimberly is, we got all our friends here. Kimberly is watching from Maryland, cool autumn, mid-60s, and we received our first frost this morning. Oh my goodness. Mr. Steve, great hunt, says Jim Rhodes. Rory says, enjoyed my come-along coffee this morning. Thanks, Steve, for the call, and congratulations on the successful hunt. Were you talking to Rory?
He watched that really great show you did last week with David Pingali, and his wife looked at him and said, "Have you ever tried that coffee?" He said, "No." He said, "I think we better order some up." So, congratulations on drinking the best coffee you're ever going to drink.
That's awesome. Diana is watching from Northern California. Merlin is watching from Minnesota. Jim has the question. Mr. Steve, my question is, can mules eat fresh pumpkin? That's a great question. Very timely. Can mules eat fresh pumpkin?
Yes, they love pumpkin, but I'm going to tell you now, folks, just like anything else, a little bit is better than a whole bunch. Okay, really important. A little bit's better than a whole bunch. Now, I did have a picture of a guy sent me a picture of his mule and had apples laying everywhere, and the mule was eating the apples. Now, y'all got to remember now, this mule has an equine intestines, large and small, and it's real easy to get one kind of colicky. All right. And so you feed them a little bit and leave them go for a while, and then maybe feed them a little bit more. But you bet, pumpkins. Oh yeah, they love pumpkins. That's a good for
All right. Can mules go trick or treat? Oh, no, I'm just joking. They didn't ask that. Next question. This one came in from Candace. Says, Steve, I have a 3-year-old John Mule. I've been doing some groundwork, but would like to do more. What video should I buy? Also thinking of training him to cart. What video would help me with that? Thank you. I love your chat online. So we're looking for some ideas of where to go as we progress through groundwork, Steve.
Well, here, you always want to make sure that video that's called Problem Mule Building Foundation, that video is your foundation to get there. Now, once you do that and you get the mule to be light, now the idea, folks, you see them going around in circles, but going around in circles as you want them to go around. So when you get really good with your hands, the mule is going around clockwise. And then all of a sudden, now you've done your 3, 6, 9, 12. You've done those. And you're happy with it, all right? Now let's perfect you and let's perfect the mule. So as the mule is going around clockwise, nice and slow, and then you wiggle it and they stop. He's quarter way around the circle. Wiggle the rope, he stops. Pick it up again, he moves a few steps. Wiggle it, he stops. Going around in that circle, you see? Folks, we got to keep the thinking small. Remember, the brain of this mule, there's a brain on the right, brain on the left, about the size of my fist. But the part that takes in the new information on the right and on the left side is not much bigger than a walnut. Okay? So we've got to take it a few steps at a time. So as you're doing this circle, and you've done 3, 6, 9, 12, and it's pretty, and it went around nice and smooth, mule's head's down, mule's head's relaxed, nose is on the vertical, nice and quiet. As you see the mule coming around, wiggle the rope, the mule stops. Pick up on the rope, the mule walks. Wiggle the rope, the mule stops. Pick up on the rope, the mule. You got the idea? Yeah, you can listen. You don't have to go for at least 2 months. Folks, you really don't need to go out of a 20-foot circle. You really don't. Keep your thinking small. Here's the deal. And this is what a lady told me here today. They just got done buying 2 mules, and now they bought 2 saddles and all this stuff. She said, we're watching your videos, we're watching your videos, we're watching your videos. And she says, we want to ride, we want to go ride, but we keep hearing you say, wait a minute, what do you want to do? Do you want to do it right and build a good foundation and have a good communication? Or do you want to end up in ER and have to wait longer? All right. So folks, listen, look for small tries. You barely move that rope right, left, the mule stops. You barely pick up on that rope, the mule moves forward. Now, I can, there's a few of you out there that went to Shelbyville. I know this guy by the name of Dave in Texas. Yeah, he watched it. Matter of fact, he got a nice mule out of the deal. So Dave, speak up. Anyway, he watched me. Okay, and everybody got a chance to see what little bit I move my hands. What little bit I move my hands. And that's what you guys want to think. See, this isn't just for the mule. This is not for the mule. What this is for is to help you develop good hands to good communicate.
Great. Awesome. Great
How
question.
We doing,
what?
We doing okay?
Doing good? Yeah. We're doing good. next question came in from Antonio. Says, I need a pad for a male mule. I'm new to mules, so not sure which one I need. I use a Mexican saddle, so square pad thick is what I need, correct? So a few questions here. Number one, what is a Mexican saddle? Because I've never heard of that. Number two, do you need a square pad for that Mexican saddle? And number three, why or why not?
Okay, so a Mexican saddle can be in several ways it can be done. One, is it just the tree? All you see is the wood horn, and the horn could be up to a 5-inch top plate, 5 inches. And you can see all the wood tree, and then there's some stirrups and a little bit of rawhide and a little bit of skirting and things like this, and just enough to hold the D-rings on. Very minimal. Or you can have a Mexican saddle that's really flashy. All kinds of stamping and silver on it and all this stuff. There's several ways. The main Mexican saddle that most likely he's talking about has a 5-inch horn. Now, some skirting on these saddles are rounded. Some skirting are square. Some skirting are big squares, heavy in the shoulder and heavy in the back. So what you want is to have a picture sent to me. Send me a picture of your mule all tacked up so I can see the picture. Send it to this email address, steve@muleranch.com, or you can send it to my cell phone, which is usually the easiest, 602-999-MULE, 6853. So 999-6853. So the 6853 translates to MULE. So send me a picture of your mule back from a distance so I can see the top of his ears, bottom of his tail, so I can look at the top line to see how the hip is. Second picture, completely saddled up, breeching, breast collar, everything, cinches, everything. And then let me look at that, and then I can tell you what you're going to need.
Awesome. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you taking the time to message in, and I learned something new, so that's fantastic. Next question comes in from James. Jim, hey, says, long time since I've picked your brain, as you always answer so many questions on Tuesdays. But tonight, I have a question for you that's bugging me. Haha, that you'll get it here in a second. Steve, is ticks common on mules? Get it? Bugging me. I found a bump on my mule's neck that if I'd found on my dog, I would be convinced it was from a tick.
Yes, if you have ticks in your country, deer ticks and this sort of thing, you are going to have it. Now, if you have a bump and you don't see the tick, then it could be, I know this sounds yucky, folks, but it could be that the head of that tick is underneath the skin. So, of course, you know to pinch it and pop it out. You can also take a razor blade and slice it and pop it out too as well. But it's not too uncommon to find ticks on mules and horses and equine. It's in the brush and stuff. Depends on what part of the country you're in.
Awesome. So let's hop back and see who else is hanging out with us. Christina is watching. Hey, here we go. British Columbia, we've gone international. Cold might get the
That's my
first.
mule rider. She's a dandy, that Christina.
Was she the
She's
one?
good.
Was she in Montana or was she at Shelbyville?
Yes.
Montana. Okay,
So she was in Montana. She was vigilant, man. She wanted to learn. She wanted to get in there and do that,
that's
and I
awesome.
was proud of her. She stayed right in there and was trying hard. She did good.
Well, Christina, you're the reason why Steve continues to show up and do this. He said it earlier. He's in the stage of life where he's not about getting stuff; he's about giving away. And so we do this program so that uh, we can give away as much as possible. And when Steve's time comes, we know where he's going. Jesus has saved him. Jesus has saved me, and we're going to be with him in heaven. We know how the story ends, but until that day, we're going to give away as much as we can. Joe is watching from Payson. It's a beautiful day. Just got back from a mule ride. Hey, awesome. We are envy. Myra is watching. A lovely day in Southern California, she says. Fall is in the air. The mules are growing their winter coats. Let's ask this question real quick, Steve. As it starts to get cooler and as they do start to grow their winter coats, is there like maybe two or three things that if you had Pearl and Stacy, or TW on your ranch right now, you would be doing to prepare them for? It's different here, but prepare them for the colder months of the year.
I actually just pretty much let nature take its course. They start growing hair particularly good. If you start blanketing them, then the hair won't come in as good. Now, if you're showing, then blanket them, okay? But if you're not showing them, let nature take its course. Listen, I've been up in Montana in 120 below, and not just my livestock in particular, but seeing other livestock out there. Remember, my livestock come from Arizona to Montana.
It's like
You know what they do? They
you said your
You
livestock comes
okay?
from Arizona to Montana or something like that, and then it froze for a second. So pick
Yeah.
up right there.
Okay. So when we drive from Arizona to Montana, we come from 70 degrees up to in the 30s and the 40s. And do we take blankets with them? Yes. Okay. Uh, Especially if they come back from a ride and they're sweaty and they're hot. We'll blanket them for a while, and then we'll take them off. We'll blanket them for a while. Number one thing that I do, folks, and this is really important, is make sure that they got lots of roughage, not grain, not any type of sweet feed, but just a good quality hay, or if you're having a good quality pellet made, a good quality pellet. So the thing is, they have to have that roughage in their intestines to be able to start getting to help them get warmed up. So don't feed them corn. Corn is a horrible thing to feed an equine. It's not good for them at all. We don't have enough work for our animals these days to feed them a lot of corn. Way too much carbohydrates. They don't need it. They don't need it at all. But what I do is just let nature take its course. If I'm showing, yes, I'll blanket them because the judges like to see them all slick and shiny. That was the nice thing I liked about Bishop years ago when I was going to Bishop, and it's some of the last years of seeing the real thing, real packers, real teamsters, real working cowboys, and their mules wasn't all shiny and brushed out real pretty and stuff, and they wasn't wearing a bunch of silver. They just came in off of the mountains and they're good. That's another story. Go back, just feed them good, give them a place to get in out of the weather, and they'll do just fine.
Awesome. Next question we got comes from Robert. Now, Steve, Robert, I think all of your questions, Robert, have to do with Hinnys. So I want to do something just kind of special for Robert. But whatever you want to say about Hinnys, Steve, we can't. His question is, how do mules and Hinnys interact with each other when in the same area? He's got lots of stuff that he talks about as it relates to Hinnys. Can you just answer his question, but can you give us like a 101 on Hinnys and why people are so enamored with them?
Okay, number one, the enamor. And I'll just say it just like it is, folks. And as you know, I usually do. I got something different. Mine is different. I do something different. I have a very different thing, which is neat. Okay. But let me tell you something. I can put a Hinny next door to a mule and they look identical. There's no difference in the head, no difference in the head, no difference in the ears, no difference in the way they eat, no difference in their feet. Got the idea? The only way you can possibly tell they're a Hinny is if, number one, you've seen the father, a horse, you've seen the mother, a donkey. That's a Hinny. That's where a stallion horse has bred a Jenny donkey. Now, to breed for just a mule, the father be the donkey, the mother be the horse. Okay? That's the two. Is there a difference in the riding of them? No. Is there a difference in the training of them? No. Is there a difference in the way you maintain them? No. Is there a difference in the color? No. So what am I saying? The only way you're going to know is if you know mom, you know dad, and here's the last part, a DNA test. DNA testing. That's the only way. Now here's what you're going to have. You're always going to have hierarchy. Always. There's always going to be the top of the pecking order. It's not going to change. It's the way God lined it up in the very beginning. There's always going to be leader. There's always going to be followers. And in a herd, it can be a mare the majority of the time. She's usually the leader. That's where I get the ask, tell, demand. She pins her ears and she asks the new mule coming into the pasture, don't come no closer. She pinned her ears. Then she tails by pinning her ears, swishing her tail. So she asked and she told that mule not to come any closer. He keeps on coming. She spins and she kicks him and she bites him. Yes. Ask, tell, demand. Oh, don't jerk on the mule's nose. It hurts him. Listen, if this was a lead mare, she would kick the thunder out of him. I have seen them literally take a mule or a horse and throw them to a ground and pound on them. Ask, tell, demand. Natural. You see, here's the problem. You know what people think natural horsemanship is? A halter, a rope halter. No, it's not natural horsemanship. It's doing things in a natural way. And unfortunately, you don't hear much about that, the natural way. Now, this is the other thing I got. Comfortable, uncomfortable. Ask, tell, demand. Comfortable, uncomfortable. Why is that? Because the lead of the herd, which is what you better be, if you're not the lead of the herd of 1 or 5 or whatever you have, if you're not that herd leader, you're going to be on the bottom of the pecking order and you're going to get yourself hurt. Simple, folks. You know how they get you hurt? They don't mean to. But if they want you to move over to the left or to the right, guess what they do? They step in your space. And when they step in your space, what do? Move back out of the way because you don't want to be stepped on. Well, you just move because they just told you to move. Then they get in your space again. You move back. Even if you only move back in half an inch, you still moved. And they still got their way. And it keeps going and keeps going. You don't want to be the one that she's pinning her ears saying, don't come no closer. You don't want to be the one that they pin their ears and bite and kick you. You don't want to be there. Be the herd leader right off the bat. So going back to the Hinny, ain't a nickel's worth of difference between them. I've trained a few animals over the years, all over the world. And I can tell you, I've ridden Arab mules, quarter horse mules, gaited mules, Percheron mules, you name the breed, and I have ridden them, trained them, and this sort of thing. And I've had people bring me Hinnys and say the reason they know it's a Hinny because of the head was shaped. No. Only way you can tell is to know mama and daddy or have a DNA testing. Otherwise, There's not a nickel's worth of difference on any of them.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it, Robert. Hope you enjoyed that. We did that just for you, my friend.
There you go.
Hopping back over to who's hanging out with us today, we've got Jerry watching from Clinton, Indiana. Weather is beautiful, 78 high. Misty is watching from Signal Mountain, Tennessee. Perfect day, 65, sunny and gorgeous, and it's my birthday. Happy birthday, Misty. Love hearing that. Thanks for sharing that with us. Let's see here. Dave O'Brien,
Tennessee, my hometown.
What was your hometown? Signal Mountain?
Signal Mountain. Yeah.
Hey, all right. Good company.
Not too far from Irwin.
Not good company. That's awesome. Let's see here. Dave O'Brien's looks like he's replying to Danielle. Danielle, the raffle mule is doing great with her foundation training. She is a quick learner. She even let me trim her hooves. Steve, you have a great eye for mules with a nice disposition. Thank you. Love hearing that. That's fun. Tracy is watching from Lowood, Queensland, Australia. That means we've gone international again. A hot 96.8. She did the translation for us from Celsius to Fahrenheit. That is a thoughtful person right there. Thanks for getting us Americans caught up there, Tracy. Appreciate it. Farah's watching from Herriman, Utah, 60 and sunny. Misty says, my daddy was a taxidermist and stuffed many a moose. Very cool. Kathy says, Dave, I'm on the west side of Houston near Katy. Very good. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate that. Hey, Cowboy Ken. Folks, Cowboy Ken remembers this. Steve remembers this. But Cowboy Ken, he's got the name that it like makes sense. But I used to say it Cowboy Ken. Cowboy Ken. And I would say Cowboy Ken Foysier is watching. And then one day it just came together, Cowboy Ken. And now it's always Cowboy Ken. Good to have you here, Cowboy Ken. From Connecticut, 55 degrees and clear. Hey, Bill Rose, again, sharing to Mules of Ohio and Mules of Indiana. Plenty of sunshine earlier, but clouds are moving in now and maybe about to rain. It may rain out here. Clouds are moving in here too. Yep. Let's see here. Linda says, yes, Dave and Steve, all free of cancer, all free of evidence of cancer. That's how they describe it now. Praise God. That's awesome. Thank you, Linda. Mari is watching from windy and rainy Winston, Missouri. Craig, not raining in upstate New York. Getting after the firewood. That's right. David Scholl. Hey, here we go. Steve and Dave from Queensland, Australia, 98 degrees today, hot and dry. Our mares are foaling down some beautiful mules, and our breeding season for Moses is in full swing, so it's our busy time of the year. Folks, go back to our YouTube channel, Queen Valley Mule Ranch. Look for the episode with David Scholl. It's about a month and a half old now, and you will hear an incredible story about bringing the mule to an entirely new continent and evangelizing and proselytizing the story and the goodness of the mule to an entire new place. It's really, really cool what David and Di are doing down there in Australia. I highly recommend it. Hey, speaking of the land down under, Tamar is watching from Elora, Queensland, Australia, hot and dry. Yep. Johnson Taxidermy. Sherman says, never done a moose, done lots of elk and black bear, done a 6.5 foot alligator that weighed 117 pounds. How cool. Very, very cool. Let's see here. Thanks for sharing that, Sherman. Andrea is watching from Ridge Soaring, South Carolina until tomorrow. Sunny and high 60s. Very nice. 5 donkeys here talking back and forth. There we go. It's like me and Steve. Andrea says, happy birthday, Misty. Let's see here. Jeff from upstate New York, 60s today. David Pingelli, beautiful fall day here in Manchester, Georgia. That is Coffee by David. Look it up online. Mari says, I asked a question last week and forgot. Can you look back? Yes, I'm going through them now. Marcia says, my one mule got Lyme disease in March. Cost me a $500 vet bill. We have deer ticks that are very small and you can barely see. I powder my mules now with a diatomaceous earth. How do you say it?
Oh, you got me now.
Diatomaceous. Diatomaceous earth. What is this?
Well, it does really good for killing bugs and ants and this sort of thing. And I've used it a lot of times when we have really heavy fly bites where they're really allergic to the fly bites. You see big heavy bumps all over them. I almost said it again. Dietaceous. It's a tough word, but anyway, it does work. It's great. It's kind of a powdery looking thing, but if you got fly bites with all over your animals, it's a nice thing to put on. He does a good job, and just like anything else, if you can prepare them ahead of time, um, the lady with the equus, what is it? The natural
A Spania silk.
Spania silk. If you can put that on your animals ahead of time, the Spania silk, it's kind of a fly retardant and tick and this sort of thing. It does really good and kind of keeps them away. But that diatomaceous earth. Got that, Dave? Diatomaceous.
I got it now. It was a tough one for me to say.
Yeah, yeah. And we've actually used it out in our garden to keep the ants down when we got black ants really and red ants really heavy, and it does a good job of keeping the varmints away there. Yep, but it does.
Awesome.
I never thought about it using for ticks because we don't have ticks out here, but I have used it for when I've got a mule that's brought to me that's already really bad fly bitten is allergic to them. I like to do stuff ahead of time, but anyway, good for her. Congratulations. Thanks for giving us that tip.
Next question. This one came from Kate Richter last week. I moved my donkeys from the rainy PNW and they are thriving here. I don't know if this has been addressed, and pardon me if it has. You have a dear mule friend in Israel. I pray they are. Have you heard from our friends in Israel, Steve?
Yes, yes, I have. Yav and Yuri, two very good friends. We've been talking with them on the internet on WhatsApp, and they said, Steve, whatever you see on TV, it's 3 times worse than that. You know, Dave, in every single home and every single business, they have bomb shelters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was going there and living with Yav during that month that I was there, and Yuri, they have bomb shelters in there and a kibbutz. You hear them talk about kibbutz where they went in and shot all those people and killed them all. What that is, it's kind of like a little community, okay? And that community raises their own beef. They do their own milking, own gardening, and all this stuff. It's kind of one great big family. They have a big kind of like a cafeteria where they all eat and have their individual homes and stuff. But it's really neat. And those people went in there and just slaughtered men, women, kids, grandmas, grandpas. That means slaughtered them. Okay. And folks, what we're seeing on TV is Mickey Mouse Club compared to what the real thing is. And I'm getting it firsthand. Okay. And I've seen some pictures that you all don't want to see. It's ugly. So pray for Israel. Pray for the peace of Israel.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding us, Kate. On that note, we'll just keep moving forward here. We're going to keep doing what we're doing and keep those folks in prayer. They matter to God, so they matter to us. Mari's question from last week. I have a mule mama green broke buddy sour on the trail. Panics when more than 8 feet away from her buddies. Separated at home now. What next? Getting worse, not better. She is in full.
Yeah. Wait, mule mama, a horse. Okay, gotcha. Okay, now I got you. So this horse is really buddy sour. It's folks, an equine is an equine is an equine. They would rather be around another equine, not be around you, a predator. And I was talking about this earlier, folks. This is really important, okay? Can you train them not to be buddy sour? No. Can you put them in another stall 10 miles away and they won't be buddy sour? You're right, they won't be. But as soon as they find an equine within minutes, they'll be buddy sour, okay? Is there a way to change it? No. Is there a way to ride them? Hear that? And communicate with them that they're going to be made uncomfortable if they choose to do that? Yes. Get the come along rope out, okay? And here's what I do. I make sure I have a good foundation first. Really important, folks. A good foundation. What's that mean? That means they stand perfectly quiet, perfectly straight, the head down. When they are that way, they are listening to that come along rope 110%. They have to be straight. They have to have their head down, and they have to be looking straight ahead with their feet quiet. Once you can do that, then you take another equine and walk by them. Now you're on the ground with a come along hitch. This other person can be in the saddle or they can walk the animal by on foot, either one. And as they're going by, if that mule that you have looks up or flicks an ear or moves a nose hair, you fix it. Boom, boom, boom. You make them uncomfortable when they don't think about you. You see, because when that equine goes, they're thinking about their brother as far as they're concerned. That's another equine, and they're more important than you are. You're just a predator. So how do you fix it? You don't fix it, but you put a cue on it, a cue. There's always a cue. You put your leg on them for side passing. You pick up on your reins for stopping. Those are all cues. So when the mule, fix it before it becomes a problem. If the mule is already moving at your timing, that is not the come along rope's timing. If the mule's feet are already moving, it's because your timing wasn't when the nose moved. When the nose moves, so goes the foot. When the nose moves, so goes the rest of the body, folks. So straightness. So what are you going to do? You're going to practice? You're going to practice first standing still. Quiet, looking straight ahead. What's the next thing you're going to do? You're going to have somebody walk by with another equine. 25 feet away, 100 feet away, I don't care how far away. But if this animal flicks a nose hair, fix it, bump. If he moves his head, you're too late. You're too late. Folks, this is just as much for you as it is for the mule. Let's go back. You cannot fix Buddy sour. You cannot train Buddy sour. You cannot train flight or fright. All right, now let me just give you an idea. Here's my good friend Pat Pirelli. I don't know many if people know about him or not, but I've known Pat for a lot of years, and we've always kind of bucked horns at his training and my training, but here it was. Here's Pat Pirelli with a horse out in the middle of the arena. Hundreds of people in the arena. The lady said every time a bicycle goes by, whether the person is pushing it or riding it, the horse gets upset. Okay, so what? Flight and fright kicks in. So what does Pat do? He teaches the horse first, stand still, be straight ahead, and be quiet. Then he actually has somebody walk around, ride on, and finally Pat takes the bicycle and puts it on top of the horse. Now, folks, I've done identical the same thing. You're thinking, wow, how about that? Yeah, but guess what, folks? You can be out on the trail, and all of a sudden a bicycle come up in the horizon. That bicycle can still bugger that mule, can still bugger that horse. Why is that? Because there's something about the bicycle that's different now. You remember the t-shirt that I have, every day is a different day to the mule? Every day is a different day to the donkey. Why is that? You can move after training, doing the come along work. You can move 10 foot to the right and think you had another whole new different mule and think, wait a minute, why didn't you get what I taught you? That's because it's a different spot. Shadows are different. The wind is different. Things are different over there. You see, folks, they look for the small things. You're looking for the big things. I'm going to go up the trail and I'm going to go camping. That's what you hear and feel. But you know what? You need to start seeing the steps to get there, the small things to get there. Shoe the mule, feed the mule properly, exercising, start doing the groundwork at home, start preparing now so that when you go up the trail, it's going to be smooth and easy. You see, the mule, and especially the mule, because they're very, very aware of every split thing that's going on. The smallest thing, they're aware of it. Okay? And I'll tell you one more thing. Now we're talking about, flight and fright, and we're talking about just, being buddy sour. I'm telling you, you think you got them figured out. Watch this. At the Phoenix Zoo, we had a trail that we walked people on with the mules. One person walked, the other person rode the mule, just to get an idea and say, I rode a mule. Okay. One day, some of the local Indian tribes, the Pimas, wanted to put some broken pottery out on the trail so people can get an idea the Indians had been there at one time. And the zoo curator said to me, Steve, is that going to be okay? I said, yes. But first, we got to take the mules by and let them know it's there. He said, they're not going to know that. I said, come on. I give him a mule. I had a mule. We had a come along ropes on. We were walking around the trail. All of a sudden, my mule stopped, looked. Listen, folks, they know every square inch of that trail. They know what's new and they know what's old. They know. They saw that pieces of pottery. And see, my mule was the lead mule. So that means the second mule back here, old Charlie's going along saying, oh, it's okay. Sam is up here and what's Sam see? What's Sam see? Charlie, Sam, what's going on? What do you see? Pottery. See, folks, you wouldn't think about that, but think about this. If you were the bottom of the pecking order, which a lot of people are, even in our society, yes, you're going to want to take care of yourself. You're going to be watching things. That's what that mule is doing. He's very aware of what's going on. And I tell folks, I'll leave this alone. Just go back to here. You cannot fix barn sour. Yes, you can. Barn sour is fixed by you not taking the saddle off and leaving it on for a while and letting them soak at the hitching rail. You cannot fix buddy sour. You can't do it. It's natural. It's just the way the mule is made because they're the bottom of the pecking order. You cannot train flight and fright. They're going to be there. Why do you have a bridle? So that flight and fright kicks in, you pick up on the bridle. So there's the long story of it in essence. You cannot just put them in another corral and say, okay, they're no longer going to be buddy sour. Nope. The split second, the two of them see each other, it's automatically, I'm in love. And if you get a horse and mules, those mules are very subservient to horses. Very subservient to horses. When a horse comes around, those mules will focus on that horse. Now, when I was at Yosemite packing freight, we rode horses because the mules would go with that horse anywhere it wanted to go, subservient. So going back, I gave you a way to communicate. And that way to communicate is, like I said, stand for the come along, hitch on, get them straight, have the other animals go by. And see, this is your timing. So if the mule even throws a whisker toward that other animal, you can bump them. So that was a long story of what is natural to these animals that you cannot train, but you can learn to have your timing to make it better.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next question I have here, this one came in from Mona. Mona asked, Steve, tell me, how do I keep my lovely Molly mule from peeing on her Britchen? I lowered it, raised it, tightened it. I am at a loss. First time mule owner, 2 months in, and we're getting there. Helps, she is really trained. Thanks. Watch and listen on YouTube. How do we get it to stop peeing on it?
Put a penis on him.
You're not going donkey woke, are you, Steve?
No, I'm not going there. Look, folks, this is one of the reasons that I went beta because of the salt from the body eating away on the leather. I don't have leather breechings and breast collars. I have very little leather on my saddles. Okay. Because when they urinate, they're going to urinate. You cannot stop it. The reason you raise a breeching and the reason you lower a breeching is because of the type of terrain that you're riding in. You're going down a steep mountain, you're going to lower the breeching so that he sits on that breeching and holds the saddle back. When you're riding on, say, you're loping circles and stuff, you're going to raise that breeching. You cannot keep them from urinating on your your britchen. You can't do it. What you can do is when you take it off, you go ahead and spray a little window. I'm a real proponent of window cleaner, or take a damp cloth and wipe it off. That's a nice thing about beta. You can't tear it up. But leather, if you don't clean it every single day and maintain it, it will crack and eat up. But so can you keep your mule from urinating on it? Nope. You'll have to buy a gelding because a mare mule is going to urinate on there. Besides that, what are you going to do about the road apples? Road apples come out too. Do road apples get on the breechings? Yes. Guess what? Welcome to the world of mules.
You you said earlier you're not going to be able to keep them from peeing on their breast collar, and I thought, oh my gosh, I knew nothing about mules, and then you corrected and said the
I
Britchen.
corrected it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I stand corrected.
Hannah is watching from Florida, 84 and windy. God bless America, she says. Brenda is watching in Glen, Missouri, 70s, very dry. Have owned horses for 30 years, but I'm new to mules. Hey, we'll give you a glockenspiel for that. Your videos are helping me so much. Thank you. You got it, Brenda. We love hearing that. Thank you for sharing that. Jay is watching. Can you post the last 5 minutes of Ask Tell Demand? I must be ready to hear it because it was meaningful to me and I'd like to be able to hear it again. Jay, all of these are available as replay. So as soon as we're done here, it'll take about 5 minutes and then you can go back and you can scan the video and yeah, it'll be fantastic. You'll love it. Robbie is watching from Limerick, Ireland. I don't know if we've ever had Ireland, at least not live. Great show, guys. Never stops raining here. We love having you here, Robbie. Thank you for chiming in and taking us in. Yeah, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie's one of my clients.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. He called me. I talked. Robbie's got 4 or 5 mules. Really interesting guy to talk to. I can't wait to go to Ireland to see Robbie and his mules. One of these days, I'm going to do that, Robbie, and come there. But Robbie is really trying hard. He had some young mules that had sarcoids on them. Now, sarcoids is kind of like a real ugly sore on their noses sometimes, and can be around their ears. And on a rare occasion, it can be like Robbie had, down on the testicles and in the testicle area and in the penis area where it was really bad, and that can be nasty. But Robbie, guess what? Robbie contacted me from Ireland. Did I call Robbie back, folks? Listen, I call you all of you. I don't care where you are. I'm going to call you. I've got an international phone, and I'm going to call you. You've got a question, just like Robbie, my buddy Robbie here, great guy. He's got to be tough because he's got some mules and he's trained them all himself, and like he just said, Ireland, it's always raining in Ireland, they have good border collies there in Ireland too. But Robbie's a good guy. And I've got some other ones. They're actually religious folks. They're friars, and they actually have mules that they use for plowing and stuff. And I've got some clients there with that. Just about anywhere you go in the world, Dave, we got people who got mules that got questions, and that's only because you're able to put that information out there, buddy.
Yeah, I love doing it. It's fun. As a matter of fact, I mean, we've got a few minutes left here, but this show just goes by faster and faster just about every week. I love it. Diatomasius.
Diatomaceous.
Diatomaceous. There we go.
Diatomaceous earth.
Diatomaceous earth. Okay, all right, got it.
Yeah.
Some folks
Good.
were putting in how to sound it out for me, and so they were helping me. I went to public school, so I'm still learning.
Yeah.
D is watching. Finally got to catch a live episode here in Mid-State, good old show me state, Missouri. We have 3 mules and love all your videos. The mules and you. Awesome. Love hearing that. Let's see. Dee says, it is a cloudy drizzle, 75 here, remembering Israel, so sad. Yes, thank you. Andrea, same thing. Yolanda is watching. At this moment, hundreds of birds of prey are gathered in Israel. Zechariah 14:12 says everything about those birds. That's right. Dee says, I need to know more about the come along rope. We've heard it mentioned several times, but not sure what it is. Folks, this right here is why it is so important that you ask every question that comes up. This is why it's so important. Dee, we've talked about the come along rope just about more than anything else, but there is always somebody who is jumping in for the very first time and does not know yet. And if you don't ask the question, Dee's not going to get the information. So Dee spoke up and we're going to answer it. Steve, talk to Dee about the come along rope.
I think most of the people that are watching the show right now can just about tell you their experience with the come along rope. Now, mules and donkeys learn right and wrong from their nose, not from their mouth. Okay. And so their nose, pretty much, you learn how to teach them to back up, to turn right, turn left, and stop from the nose. And a lot of you that went to Shelbyville could tell you that using the nose, Dave, I actually put the feet where I want them, and I never touch the feet. I just use the nose to say foot go here, foot go there. And Dave O'Brien can tell you about that. Anyway, the come along rope, basically what it is, there are 5 war bridles. And this is the best of all of them. And every one of those war bridles have all had a use here on my ranch at one time. But I found that the come along rope more evenly distributed the communication that I needed to be able to tell the mule, do this, don't do that, go right, go left, and this sort of thing. Basically, we can give you, Dave, you can put something in there where they can go over there and watch the video. Basically, I have a rope that is waxed. It's roughly about 26, 28 foot long. I haven't measured it in a while. And 3-strand, very soft lay rope that is wax coated. The reason for the wax is because as you are using the come along rope, the come along rope tends to go up the nose, tends to walk up the nose, especially if your hands are not correct. That's a good way, folks, for you to find out that your hands aren't correct when that loop on that nose is moving a lot, okay? And it also tells you that your mule is not paying attention well. So let's go back. So you take that rope and you put the loop around behind the ears and at back on the neck around the throat latch. And then you go around the nose. And again, Dave's going to give you, I'm sure, going to give you a video, show you how to do it. You go around the nose first, around the nose, and then the second time go above the nose, pull the first one up, go behind the ears. It communicates to the pole, to the top of the nose, the bottom of the chin, and it gives the mule, here's the most important part, gives the donkey, here's the most important part, release. You see, you're making them uncomfortable as soon as you walk in that gate. You're a predator. They're a prey animal. So as soon as you open that gate, you make them uncomfortable. So you might as well learn to talk their communication and learn, ask, tell, demand. You might as well learn how to make them comfortable and uncomfortable, and you do that with a come along rope. Now, folks, Dave can tell you, a lot of the people that watch me on at Shelbyville and up in Montana when I did that clinic there and this sort of thing, they can all tell you that the things that I've done was with that come along rope. picking up the feet, saddling them, working them, doing vet work, everything, just with that come along rope. So it's going to be your tool that you need. Don't even think about a rope halter. Hang it on the nail. That's what I tell folks. When you buy my kit with the come along rope, the rope halter, and the video, how-to video, focus on that come along rope. It's going to be your best tool.
Yeah, so what we call it is ground foundation training. And folks watching right now, Dee Dee, they'll tell you, you never graduate foundation training. You're always coming back to it, whether it's for a tune-up, just a generic tune-up, whether it's because your mule or your donkey forgot something and you need to remind them. There may be something new that you need to teach them to do, or you may encounter something new on the trail and they don't react or respond the way you want. You got to go back to ground foundation training. And just like I said in the comments, Dee Dee, we just do this program and we'll mention some products here or there, but we never tell folks you have to get this. You have to get this, except for the ground foundation starting kit, predominantly because of the come along rope and the instructional video. It comes with the rope halter because in your ground foundation training program, you will encounter the need to do surcingle training eventually. And that's all about getting the horse to line themselves up straight, to getting them to level themselves out, get the nose on the vertical, and you'll use the rope halter in that process. And there may be a few other scenarios here or there where you'll need it, but the come along rope is what you need. And the great thing about it is you will love the way you feel while you are using it. It puts you in a position of control. It puts you in a position of herd leadership. You have to work on your timing. That's a big part. You have to work on your timing, and you have to make those sharp communication, ask, tell, demand, in the right timing so the mule can put it together. But you will love the way that you feel, because you will feel like, oh my gosh, this is a different animal now. In many cases, there's some cases where there's other instruction and other things we'll need to do, but in so many instances, that winds up being the case. So thanks for asking the question, giving us a chance to answer it. Steve, do you have a couple minutes for a couple more questions?
Sure, you betcha.
Okay. Diana says, I have a 15-hand Mammoth Jenny. She is 9 and not broke to ride, but she is super friendly and has a beautiful walk and trot. She loves to be worked with and understands the foundation training. She is smart and learns quickly. Sounds like she's doing a dating profile for this Jenny. She is really fun to work with. My question, is there enough information in the saddle foundation training video to get the job done, or should I get the colt starting video in addition?
Not one of my videos are going to answer every question that you're going to have. That's why I've got how many YouTubes, David? 1,000 some anyway. The best thing you can start with is do your ground communication. Start with that first. Does the colt starting video help you out? Oh yeah, oh yeah. You'll see 5 people there, 5 different mules. None of these people have ever rode a colt before, okay? And go from there. Now, up until they're 3 years old, you don't need to do much other than picking up their feet and do your ground communication using your come along rope. You'll get to where you can walk across bridges, go through water and everything with that come along rope. Building a foundation from the ground. Riding, folks, get this in your mind, all of you. Riding's not the important part. Building ground communication is what is going to keep you going. Remember that, okay? You're a predator on their back. When you want to be the head, the herd leader, you be on the ground where you can be kind of the herd leader and a prey animal at the same time.
Awesome. Wanda is watching. Lori is watching. Dee Dee liked the put a penis on her comment, so that one was a hit. We'll have to bring that back around. BK Cooper from California. Weather is in the 70s watching. Wanda is watching from Montana where it is snowing, so it's already there. BK says, what are your thoughts on mule grazing on the trail?
I will tell you this. As soon as I open the gate to get my mule, there is no more grazing or feeding. None. Okay. The downside is, folks, when you allow them to graze on the trail with their fully saddled and fully bridled, they are not going to know the difference between this is right and this is wrong. You'll be pulling on them with the bridle. You'll be kicking them with the spur. You'll be switching them. You'll be doing all that stuff from now into eternity. I do not let my mules do any type of eating once I open that gate. The majority of our mules out there today, the majority of them are way overfed, just like the majority of us Americans are way overfed.
Tom is watching from West Virginia, 76. Mr. Accordion Lover is watching. Jody and Larry Hagen. Steve, we learned a lot at Shelbyville. We are in Prescott. Weather is beautiful. Look forward to seeing you soon, Jody and Larry. That's really fun to see. Tom is watching West Virginia in 76 today. Yolanda is watching International. That's right. Let's see here. Dee Dee says, awesome. Thank you so much. Dave O'Brien says, the come along rope makes a night and day difference on how your mule behaves for you because you become the herd leader. Also, keeping them in a smaller pen makes a huge difference. Steve is the real deal. I've seen him firsthand. There we go. We'll have to get Steve a new hat. Dave, we will bill you for that. Yolanda says, and my mule took off while being trimmed by the farrier. He was telling a story, and she decided she had had enough and simply walked off to her stall. There you go. The mule in the Netherlands has a mind of its own. Folks, that's it for today. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We know you could be spending your time doing a lot of different things, like preparing for the World Series, as I am. I'm hoping the D-backs get in. We'll see. Game 7 tonight. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. We really do appreciate it. If there is anything we can do for you, you can reach out to us, support at muleranch.com. You can always reach Steve at muleranch.com, or get ready to type it. Get ready to write it. You can message him, 602-999-6853. If you call, leave a voicemail, and he'll get back to you because that's what he does. That's what Steve Edwards does. Steve, anything you want to say before we're all done here?
And my brother, we need to pray for the peace of Israel. We need to pray for the leadership of the world. But we have to remember, my brother, the Bible is very explicit, and it says that God chooses the leaders. All right, whether we like it or not, He does. But there's nothing wrong with us praying within the will of God, and just like the Apostle Paul says, pray for me, I need it. So yeah, blessings to you all. We'll see you in the future.
I'll tell you what, if you know Jesus, this is the worst it's ever going to get. If you don't know Jesus, this is the best it's ever going to get. I invite you to know and trust Jesus. If you have any questions about that, send us a message. All right, God bless everyone. Take care, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.